I still remember the magic of firing up the original versions of Pokemon, owning a bunch of generic NPCs, and easily memorizing all the original 150 Pokemon. Now there's over 800, and even though I can't identify even half of them, I was still excited to see Pokemon Detective Pikachu, because clearly a lot of effort went into this film, and the premise of a boy understanding of Pikachu and teaming up to find out what happened to his father is an interesting idea. Obviously, the visuals are gorgeous. You could tell a lot of work went into making these character models as believable as possible, and the passion of the artists really showed through, unlike how some other studios treat their characters. Also, casting Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu was really smart. He's one of the most impressive comedic actors in the game, and his delivery was on point even before the Deadpool films. By the way, the actor who plays Dopinder in Deadpool, Karan Soni, finds his way into this film as well, and I think it would have been nice if they would have given him a larger role. Reynolds is easily the best part of the movie, which is great, but it's funny how he also ends up highlighting how bland and annoying almost everyone else is, especially the main female, Lucy, played by Catherine Newton. I want to blame it on the writers trying to appeal to kids, but with Reynolds' adult sense of humor and the fact that Pikachu says hell and damn, there's really no excuse for the writers to not make some of these grown-ups act more like adults, as opposed to dumb kids. All my favorite parts were when Pikachu is interacting with and playing off of his partner Tim Goodman, played by Justice Smith, and thankfully the story revolves around them. Unfortunately though, the story is just okay. Obviously a lot of love went into creating this world, but the writing is full of logical inconsistencies, like the typical useless police and the villain who explains everything to the hero for no reason, that kind of stuff. Also, there's a little bit of Poké battling, and what's there looks great, but it's just not as much as I would have liked, and the movie's excuse is that the location, Rhyme City, is all about cooperation instead of fighting. This film definitely focuses more on comedy than action, and if they had cast pretty much anyone else besides Reynolds as Pikachu, there would have been a lot of scenes that probably would have been quite bland. You can kind of tell because the first 15 minutes or so are actually surprisingly sad, to the point of being a little boring, because you're just waiting to see Pikachu. Actually, maybe Danny DeVito could have made a decent Pikachu.
Pika Pika!
Yeah, Pika Pika Pika, he's adorable.
I got my Magnum condoms, I got my Wada hundreds, I'm ready to plow.
I've liked Ken Watanabe since Inception, but in this film, as Lieutenant Yoshida, he was underused. He could have been a decent part of the narrative, but it kind of felt like they just threw him in there to remind everyone that Pokemon comes from Japan. Meet her, sweetie, it's a Nihonjin straight from Japan. Regardless of its flaws, the film still gets a lot right, and if you're a Poké fanatic, you'll probably enjoy it even more than I did, because there are probably a bunch of game references that I missed. This film is still the best Pokemon film to exist. Not that that's saying much, because Pokemon has never really been about good writing.
At the end of his bed, Ash has an alarm clock shaped like a Voltor. We even see him pick it up at one point and pretend that it's a Pokeball.
Doesn't look friendly. Wonder what it is.
He didn't even know what it's called. He hasn't even bothered to learn the name of a Pokemon he has at the end of his bed.
That means I'm stupid?
I give this film 8 Deadpools dance battling against Pikachu out of 10. You probably heard about how they're going to fix the character model for the upcoming Sonic film, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Jim Carrey can't carry a film by himself, and I've seen him try.